So last time I saw you was we got together in Bad Bunny to see Bad Bunny here in San Francisco. Great time. Since then, you have done a little bit of a cross country traveling. Would you please
Yep.
tell me and the group about your time not in
Yeah.
California and why?
Yep. So my dad and my wife and I went to Texas for the eclipse back in was it April? Yeah, April 8th, I think. So we were eclipse hunters because we were planning to watch it in San Antonio, but the weather was not looking good. So we were just like, I was all up on Reddit, like on weather Reddits and eclipse Reddits, like trying to figure out where the best place was going to be to watch it. My dad was using like some New York Times specialized app for the weather for the eclipse, which was cool that it existed. Although it only updated once a day, so that's why I was like doing some further research on Reddit and on different like weather apps they had never used before, trying to look at cloud coverage and stuff. But yeah, we were eclipse hunters. My dad uh, had he really wanted to rent a Tesla from the Turo app, which is like I guess like kind of like Uber for car rentals. And so we had to charge the car every few hours, which made like driving across Texas a lot less feasible. We ended up going, so we went into Austin, spent a night there, did some Austin stuff, ate some barbecue, went to the Capitol, which is surprisingly still. I hadn't really been to Texas before, so I was surprised by like I guess how proud of their Confederate history they still are. I
Oh,
thought
oh
maybe that
boy.
stuff would have been like washed out or downplayed, but it's like the statues and the inscription on the statue is about how like these people helped like win some Confederate battle or blah blah blah, and it's like I mean, I guess I didn't expect them to just get rid of everything, but I was just surprised because I know they got rid of like Confederate flags maybe within the last decade or so, but then like it's still very much a part of Texas history. So I'm probably like wrong to have been surprised by that, but just due to my
Hmm.
ignorance and not having really been to the South too often, that was kind of surprising. I was also surprised like how I always thought Texas kind of had like its own culture, its own thing, like Texas people, but I didn't realize how that it is part of the South, which probably sounds dumb, but like it has a lot of those things that you would associate with like Southern culture. Like Texas is part of it. I always thought like, well, it's like West a little bit, and like they say y'all, and it's like their own like cowboy thing or something. But no, it's like it is the South, I guess. I realized. So yeah, don't make fun of me for that either. But yeah, back to the eclipse. We were going to go from Austin to San Antonio. Weather wasn't looking good, so we decided to go like northeast to Texarkana, which is called that because it's right on the border of Texas and Arkansas. And my dad, apparently, there's some song that's like going over to Texarkana. It's not like
Oh
that at
boy.
all, but some song, some famous old song that references Texarkana, and my dad was singing it like the entire drive over and referencing it. And but yeah, we fortunately, I'll try and cut to the chase. We fortunately did get a good view of the eclipse, and it was like a game. Like the eclipse had started, or the totality, which only lasted like 3 minutes or 4 minutes. I can't remember. Like it started, and we couldn't see because of the clouds, and like there was like a 5 second period where the clouds cleared and everyone around us is cheering and it's like black and we're all stoked. Then the clouds came back, and then like they stayed for 30 seconds and then they cleared out, and we got the rest of the like 3 minutes or whatever of just like perfect totality. And it was sick. And not my first eclipse. My dad took myself and my mom to the eclipse in 2017 up in Oregon, and then like
Oh.
within a minute of it ending, he was like, "We're going to the next one," and he started planning, and he's like, "We're gonna go to Mazatlan, Mexico," or like we could also go here. Like this, he was planning like as soon as the last one ended, and same thing for this one. He's already planning like Spain or Egypt or whatever the next one
Okay.
is. So I guess we're Eclipse people now,
Yeah. So your
and
your dad was the inspiration for the trip then.
yeah, he was the
Okay.
heart. I mean, I
Got it.
like I said, my wife got into it too. Judith was like helping with the planning. They were carrying me with the planning until we got there
Fair.
when I started to contribute with like the internet research and I was the one who found the town that we were going to go to, which was also very proud of their Confederate history. Some like dude, old white dude, grabbed my wife and was like, "I want you to go read those like statues and read about our history." And we're like, he was very uncomfortable. Anyways, um,
Oh God.
yeah, it was weird. I mean, but shout out Clarksville, Texas. It was we got to see the eclipse and um people were definitely like looking at the Tesla weird as we rolled into town. But the other thing I wanted to talk about the Texas experience is an amazing experience I had at one of the superchargers where we stopped to charge the Tesla. It
Hmm.
was at this establishment called Bucky's. Have you ever heard of Bucky's?
Oh yeah, they're those like massive gas stations, right?
Yes, and this is their logo. And
Oh, okay.
Bucky's is like a mix between a gas station, a Costco, and Disneyland. And you walk in there, and the smell of like barbecue, pulled pork, and maybe brisket mixed with this like sweetness of like a cinnamon roll or something, like it just hits you right away. And then they have like the gas station stuff, but in like a Costco scale. Like, I mean, it's not quite as big as a Costco, but it's way bigger than a gas station. And they got all these prepared foods. They got a whole entire jerky section of like 50 different types of flavored jerky. And then they had like the kind of stuff you'd find in like a like gift store, or like house stuff you'd buy for your house, like for your kitchen, and like for like pillows that say like welcome, or like uh funny. I don't know, like it was like the kinds of things moms love. Shout out moms, and
Shout
dads
out.
too, Mike.
Yeah. Shout out family.
Yep.
Parents.
But
Wow.
Bucky's was crazy, and so then my dad was like making fun of me because of how stoked I was on the Bucky's experience. So he got me this shirt and some
Oh, love it.
pajamas like a week or two later for my birthday. So I'm a Bucky's guy now, and I can tell
That's
you, like wearing this in California, I I've already gotten love a few times from people who also are equally stoked on
so
Bucky's.
really.
Yeah, so you got to go.
What what was the you said it was like gas station, Costco, and Disneyland. Where's the Disneyland part come in? That's
Because, well, okay, so for one, there's like this thing, like a person in a suit, and like they have a mascot, and he's in
oh, they
there,
have
and people are taking,
characters. Oh geez,
yeah,
okay.
just one, just Bucky. And he's in there, like taking pictures. I mean, everyone's there for the eclipse, and there's like little kids getting pictures with Bucky. Bucky's like doing silly stuff. But more so just the energy of everyone in there. It's like everyone's like, oh, I'm going to go buy this. I'm going to go buy. Oh, and the bathrooms were another part of the experience. They're like really nice and also really big. Like they're known for their bathrooms. It's crazy. It's kind of got like a Western feel to it. Just the bathrooms, not the store. I mean, the store to a degree has that like kind of Western feel, but like the bathrooms are like Western themed and they're just huge. Like the it was lit because of the eclipse, but I still didn't have to like urinate next to anyone. I had like my whole area, like it was huge bathrooms. They're very cleanly, which you wouldn't expect for a station bathroom. Um, but yeah,
Interesting.
it was
Okay.
mostly the vibe. It was like people were at an amusement park, not a gas station.
Interesting. Everyone's just giddy with excitement. You've heard of like Disney adults. Now these are probably there's probably Bucky's adults as well.
Yeah,
I
and
did not know that.
maybe I'm projecting my own excitement onto everyone around me. Who knows? It could have.
No, I hear it in your voice. It sounds like it was a rad experience. I'm happy for you.
Thank you,
That's so
sir.
cool.
Thank you. You gotta
Okay.
go. You gotta go if you're ever in Texas. You gotta check out Bucky's.
I don't know if I'm ever going to. I don't know. I don't have any plans to go to Texas, but you never know if I'm
What's
in the area.
I could see you going to like South by Southwest some year or something, like
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
which I think is
Good
in
point.
Austin.
It is, yeah.
I
Like
could see
Austin, yeah,
it.
or Austin city limits. Yeah, one of these days. We'll see. We mentioned mothers earlier. Did you have a nice Mother's Day weekend?
Yeah, it was good. Got to see mother and mother-in-law. My dog Bobon, who you've seen in the background, had to take him to an emergency vet at 2 in the morning because so we went down to Santa Barbara in LA, and the off the coast of Santa Barbara they have like oil riggers, I guess, that are like permanently installed there, and they're not like allowed anymore. New ones aren't allowed, but because these ones existed before that law, there's just allowed, and so there's like a bunch of tar on the beaches. Apparently, my dog was going crazy digging on the beach, and so he either ingested sand or tar. But later that night, we went to LA to see my in-laws, and Bobon starts like hawking up like he's choking, and
Oh no.
so we had to go to the emergency vet at like 2 in the morning. And that was an all-night ordeal, and then we've been dealing with that for the past week. But went to Fogo de Chao with the in-laws, so I ate a
Nice.
ton.
Nice.
And then Sunday came back up to NorCal and saw my parents, and yeah, had a good dinner and stuff. How about you? What did you do?
Okay, that sounds like an adventure. First of all, poor Bobo. I'm glad he's better now, though. So we went to Reno. I got off work that Friday night and drove up to Reno. Met my parents. We stayed at the Peppermill Resort and Casino. Have you ever been?
No.
Do not go.
Why
Would
not?
not would not recommend it. It's fine. Actually, the nicest part about the Peppermill was my room. Because so the reason we were there, there's this guy named Al Sino who is a billionaire for owning lots of land in Northern California, and he also happens to be a family friend of my Nana and Nanu of Jim and Rosine.
Yeah.
So we were invited because the Kolkasi family was invited to a dinner that he hosts every year at the Peppermill called the Game Feed. So the Game Feed is essentially like they serve all the peg is that all the meat that's served is meat that they like went out and killed themselves, went
Oh
out and
wow.
hunted and got. So very very exotic meats. So that's why we went there. It just so happened to be Mother's Day weekend, and it was on the Saturday night. So we said, okay, and the rooms were free. Rooms were comped because we
Nice.
were guests of Alcino. So we stayed at the Tuscany Tower in the Peppermill Resort. Beautiful room, very spacious, nice suite. I had a nice view overlooking the pool. Pool itself was fine. We didn't use it. It wasn't that kind of trip. The resort itself. So no, you remember the Grand Sierra Resort, right? Because we stayed there for a wedding a few years back for
Yeah,
Joe's wedding.
yeah.
So the Peppermill Resort, I would say, is bigger than that hotel. But whereas the Grand Sierra Resort is just like you have your casino space, and then everything like the restaurants and like lobby and everything is kind of around that. If the Grand Sierra Resort is like a square, like a square,
Uh-huh.
then the Peppermill Resort is like a what would I call it? It's like these cables and like everything is like this is
Oh.
how you get around by like walking through here. It's so congested.
Uh
Everything is very narrow, not very straightforward, easy to get lost, very smoky, expensive. Food was
oh.
expensive. At least the non-game food meals that we ate. And it's just like I don't know. My brother and I, we were the youngest people there. It was like I don't know, not really my scene, not really my vibe, but this wasn't about me. This was about
True.
mother and Mother's Day. So Reno was pretty chill. Not a lot to do there outside of the hotel. Like I feel like the reason they prop up these hotels is because like downtown Reno, not really a lot to offer. We did do a little shopping. We went to a mall. Michael needed some work clothes for Monday, so went to a couple malls. Went to a public market. Got some snacks. Reno, we drove through downtown Reno, saw the sign that says it's the biggest little city in the world. Downtown Reno, there are casinos, but it's pretty. A lot of boarded up windows.
Mm,
There's people just kind of just like lying in the streets. It's
mm.
not really a great vibe. Not a place you want to spend a lot of time.
For some
So
reason, I
Saturday
thought
was
you were
kind of
in Vegas.
similar. Reno is like
It's
the
nearby.
like the yeah, it's like the poor cousin of Vegas. Or if you're looking for that, that's a little mean. But if you're looking for something quiet and nice, it is beautiful. I will say there are parts of it that are beautiful because it's up against the mountains and there's snow in the mountains. There was still snow when we were there from the most recent storm that we had, so that was really nice. If you want like that casino life, but you also want the snow, or if you just cost of living is really cheap there. Homes are cheap, so
Okay, so
there are things to like about Reno, but
should I cross off? I reached out to Peppermill about possibly doing an ad spot. I'll retract that. And then should I maybe not send this out to our friend Joe because you're shitting on his town?
I thought about hitting him up, just being
There's no
like,
time in
"Hey,
a
dude,"
family weekend.
but like
What if
no
you saw
time.
him in
Yeah,
the Peppermill like jumble?
that would have been wild. That would have been honestly like, "What the hell are you doing here?" Because also like it's Mother's Day weekend, so I
Oh,
would hope that he's
true.
like home with his family. But maybe if he needed to get away, no, we can send him. Joe, if you're listening or watching, I truly had an amazing time at your wedding in Reno. This most recent trip that we had just did not hit quite the same. I will say that. I will say that. But anyway, so the big event, the reason we were there, the game feed, was in a ballroom
Uh-huh.
in the hotel. So we walk in, and the first thing we see are these zebras, these stuffed zebras and lions. One of the lions is chasing the zebras. Actually, I have a picture to show
Oh, let's
you,
see it.
and it's just like who does this? Um,
It's like Kendrick
the
and Drake.
food. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, yeah, I want to hear
Oh, here we
about the
go.
craziest thing you ate.
So like
Zebra?
this is I don't know. Can you see that? The glare kind of
Yeah,
sucks.
I can see it. Wow.
There's just like four zebras and being chased by a
It
lion.
almost looked like a human
Like
centipede, a little zebra centipede.
Oh, a little bit. I mean, yeah, it's just like I don't know. I mean, I know there's
Oh,
like an art
wow.
to it, but like, and I mean, I don't know, killing it for sport. We did not eat zebra. Zebra nor lion was on the menu. I have a picture of the menu, so I can tell you all the things that I ate
Okay. The zebra had some
really
blood on its
quickly.
nose too, so it's very like, or maybe just looked like a very gruesome scene they were depicting, like the Last Supper for lions.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Before the lions got killed themselves, I don't think that the zebras were actually. I don't think the lion was actually chasing the zebras when
Oh.
they were all shot and killed. I think that was after the fact. I think they posed them that way, but yeah, it was just kind of a trip. Open bar, which was nice. Had a couple drinks, a couple tequila cranberries. Those were good. The menu. So I'm just gonna rip through some of these real quickly. I'll read you the more exotic
Okay.
ones. Because they had like sushi, they had like shrimp cocktail, they had like your pasta salad, they had a scallop salad, things like that. Like oysters, all kind of little more standard things. Um, the tuna poke was really good. I had some of that. But when you get to the game selections, it gets a little weirder. So I did not have the salmon or the cod. I did not have the turkey meatballs, and I did not have the wild boar chili, but I did have the jalapeno cornbread. That was
Ooh.
nice. Roasted game hens and a green coconut curry.
Oh.
Tasted just like tasted just like chicken. Honestly, it was good. It was like very flavorful chicken, but the hen was basically chicken.
Okay.
Rattlesnake sausage,
Oh, you had that?
very tangy.
Oh,
Very tangy. It was good. I
interesting.
liked the rattlesnake.
Oh.
It was kind of like it was like a tangy meat. Um,
It was
what else
just
can I say
like a
about it?
sausage,
Just literally just like a sausage, but it was rattlesnake.
different
And
flavor,
then
but same texture.
I would say similar texture to chicken.
Oh.
Similar texture to chicken, but just like very kind of tangy, maybe a little tougher,
Mm.
like a little grislier. And then this here says that there were caramelized onions and sauerkraut. I don't know if that was like for flavor added to the meat. I didn't really taste super onion flavor. It was like a tangy, grittier chicken.
Mm.
And I enjoyed it. Elk medallions were delicious. So it was like Montana elk medallion. So just elk that was just served like this, like little bits.
Okay.
Very good. Melted in my mouth. Delicious. Really enjoyed the elk. If I could I mean, kind of similar to like steak, I guess, but just a little like very buttery, like a buttery steak.
Mm.
Um, and then we had veal, slow braised veal. With prosciutto parmesan polenta, which was delicious. The veal itself was good. I've had better veal. I had the best veal I ever had was probably at this Italian restaurant in LA that has a veal piccata that is
Ooh.
to die for. But this veal was good. I enjoyed it. It was slow braised, so it was in this like kind of like barbecue-y sauce. I'm not a big like barbecue fan, but
Mm.
I enjoyed the veal. Crawdads, spicy Louisiana crawdads, so just
Mm.
little crawfish that were pretty good. Small though, because a crawfish is probably like maybe like this big, but
Mm.
the amount of meat you're getting is like that
No.
and like it's just the tail. So like we got two. I got two for my plate, and I'm just like, this is it. But it was good. I mean, the what we did enjoy was good. I did not. I did have the venison cottage pie, but I really don't remember
Oh,
much about
crazy.
that. It was fine. I did well, that wasn't anything crazy. I don't
Oh.
think. Um, venison. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember the venison cottage pie. I was a few drinks in at that point, I think. Didn't have the lamb racks because I don't like lamb.
Oh.
This might be the most. I don't know if this or the rattlesnake might be the most exotic thing that we had. Wild hare ravioli.
Oh.
So that this was sweet. This
Oh.
was very sweet, and it was in a pickled artichoke cream. The hare ravioli was very sweet. It was like a sweet meat. I don't
Interesting.
really know what else to come. I don't really know. It's like if you took chicken and like I guess like dipped it in sugar,
Oh.
maybe like that would be
Was
that. I
it
don't know. It was
is
just very
you
interesting.
think rabbit is naturally like that, or you think it was because of the sauce or whatever the stuff they combined it with?
It could be could maybe could like the pickled artichoke sauce that was in it might have had something to do with it. I'd give it like a little bit of like a tang or like a little bit of a
Mm.
kick. But I enjoyed the hair ravioli. I enjoyed that quite a bit. And then the alligator fingers were
Oh.
okay. I had alligator for the first time at Coachella
Oh.
actually this year. So like these alligator fingers, they were mostly like fried. It was just like for like chicken fingers. You know, you would think the chicken fingers. This was that, but alligator. The meat itself is okay. I could kind of compare it all similar to a chicken finger. It's kind of a little bland.
Mm.
It came with like a Nashville hot sauce that was sort of needed to sort of give it a little kick, add some
Is
flavor.
it tough?
Yes, it's on the tougher side.
Okay.
So like, yeah, little chewier, like a chewier chicken. I would almost kind of compare it to how like some steak is really chewy, like some
Uh-huh.
red meat can be chewy. I would say I would compare it to that, but with like the flavor profile of chicken,
Interesting.
like a little blander. And then they had some Gilroy garlic
Let's
potatoes that I
go.
had to get. Yeah, they were very garlicky. They were delicious,
They always
actually.
are.
Um, very good. And then two types of prime rib, roasted Wyoming bison prime rib, and then just like your traditional, like cow generic prime rib. Both were delicious, but the bison prime rib was
Ooh.
just sublime.
Some people really
Very
like
fatty.
bison. My father-in-law, we went to uh like Grand Tetons, Wyoming, and he was all like, "You got to get a bison burger." And I ordered it, and the restaurant was out. So then, like a year or two later, he wanted in LA. He's like, "Oh, we gotta go to." I think it was like Eureka Burger or something. They have a bison burger, and he was just like talking about me eating a bison burger forever. And I agree, it was pretty good. And then I cooked bison burgers somewhat recently. I guess it's pretty popular.
Oh, nice. Yeah, they bison is like bison's good, but it's just like I don't know, it's a little more rare, a little more obscure, but it's good. It's a good meat. I never had a bison burger that I didn't think was delicious.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was good meat. But yeah, overall, a very interesting experience eating all that food. we got there after they'd already opened. So I think we missed like a cocktail hour that they had, but we get there, we eat our dinner, and then around like 7:38, a comedian comes on, a guy named Chris Porter. Um, and I guess he was like on Last Comic Standing. That was like his claim to fame, and he was hilarious. He
Oh.
he was really funny. He took a good amount of like shots at the audience, saying that this was like such a weird crowd, and how like he knew when he walked in and saw like the zebra exhibit that it was gonna be weird. He was like, "Who does that?" But it was funny. He had some good jokes about how like this generation has changed, and like kids these days don't know what it's like to be lost. Like they'll never know that feeling because of the technology and like how things used to be back in the day. And this one time, like hanging out with like the Detroit Tigers and like because he knows Justin Verlander, so it was a pretty good set. I laughed. I guess when my parents they went last year
Uh-huh.
with Johnny. So it was me. Johnny did not go this year
Oh
because he
no.
had to work. So it was me and Michael and then my parents. I guess last year the comedian that they had bombed
Oh.
and like did not do very well. So they were like a little nervous for this guy, but he ended up doing well. He did a good job. The audience was into it. They liked it. He did get one heckler. There was one woman who went up to him and basically like and during his set she like walked up because he was on the stage so he's higher up. She like walked up to him and said like I think he was saying something about like this generation. So she was like, "You're not funny. I'm leaving." And he was just like kind of like took him like stunned him a little bit and then he recovered and was like, "You could have just left. Like you didn't have to tell me that. Like what's wrong with you? That's the internet these days. Like everyone has to have an opinion." And that was pretty funny. And then he made some good jokes about like the people at the hotel and like the things they were wearing and like this kind of he was like, "You think like this wasn't my goal to be here at like a
You think I
hotel in
want?
Reno?" Like
You think I want to
I
be
don't know.
here?
Exactly. But it was a good set. And then once he went for about an hour, and then once his set ended, that was pretty much like that was sort of the end of the dinner. We didn't stay much longer after that. Interesting experience. My brother Michael, he gambled a little after that. I do not really gamble that much. And yeah, we just kind of gamble a little bit. I'm not much of a gambler. Johnny's the biggest gambler amongst all of us. And he's good too. He's good. He
Oh,
plays he's been getting into poker recently. He's been
nice.
doing pretty well. He doesn't like he's not making thousands of dollars, but he's not losing money either. So
That's good.
um he enjoys it. But he wasn't there this trip, so our
Uh,
gambling experience was sort of diminished by that, which honestly was fine with me. Because I'm usually the one who ends up losing money. And then for the actual Mother's Day, we went back to the Grand Sierra Resort and we had brunch there at the hotel brunch because we wanted to just kind of like we wanted to get out of the hotel. We felt like we had been there long enough, so we went to the Grand Sierra, and the buffet was nice. It was a
nice.
nice brunch buffet. Pretty standard. You have your omelet station, they have your American station, your seafood station, your chilled, your hots. Yeah, it was nice. And then we got on the road and drove home, and that was it. Something different for
Yeah.
Mother's Day. It's nice to just like get out. Uh, I haven't been to the Monterey area in a long time.
Uh,
I I used to go like once a month, but ever since I started working at a KTVU, I just not really getting down there as much. But I mean, it was nice to get out and just like do something different, be with the family. So family time is very important.
sounds like an eventful
Stress that.
weekend.
Yes, it was
Memories were
indeed.
made, it sounds like for sure.
Yes, memories were made. If we get invited to the next game feed next year,
I
I'll
mean,
probably go back, but
not
we'll
after
see.
after your slander, I don't know how you could see yourself being. You started with like, "Don't go." You told me not to go, so I don't see you getting invited back after this podcast goes viral and everyone's just shitting on them because
Oh
of
gosh.
you.
Well, you know what? If you've been listening hour 40 for an hour 45 now to us talk, then I think then fair.
Deserve an
Fair
award.
is fair. I deserve what's coming to me.
Should be
All right.
skip movies and save that for next time, but still do the draft,
Yeah,
or you
agreed.
got
Yeah,
time?
I'm ready. You ready?
Yes. Okay, let me
Ready?
quickly go through the rules. We are drafting people named Chris or Nick, and we're gonna, because it's just two of us, We're going to just alternate picks. We're not going to snake or anything, although we hope to do more drafts with guests where we will snake and do it like a fantasy draft. And Chris is going to go first because I made up these rules. So, I have an advantage. So I want to give him the first pick. And we're going to do 10 total picks. And these are the constraints. You have to pick. Again, these are people named Chris or Nick. You need 2 musicians, 2 movie or TV adjacent stars. So adjacent meaning like not just actors. It could be like directors, producers, whatever. 2 athletes or sports adjacent people. Again, like adjacent could be like coaches or something like that. 2 oofs, which are like bad people or people that you don't look at admiringly. And then 1 Greek person and 1 Italian person. Any questions?
Not a question. I realized while you going over the rules, I only have people with the name Chris.
Oh, you thought you were doing Chris and I was doing Nick?
So,
That's
but
impressive.
I think I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I think I'll be fine. But I don't mean to think that I was like shortchanging your side of things. So this could get interesting then.
I mean, I would offer to only pick Nick's, but I don't think I have enough of.
No, you know what? Let's just see what happens. This could be interesting.
You can
I think we'll be
think
okay.
of some Nick's on the fly, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I'm ready.
If you manage to
ready?
pull off the W, it'll be like a athlete playing injured. It's going to be pretty impressive that you won with this debilitating caveat.
I have a handicap. All right, so I have the first pick.
Yep.
I'm going to pick a musician. My musician is Christopher Wallace.
Damn, dude, I knew this was like the clear number 1 pick, and I just thought there was a chance you might not think of him.
No way, dude. I knew right away. Christopher Wallace, Biggie Smalls, Notorious B.I.G. Let's go.
Oh, dang. That's a clear number 1 pick for us, but also probably for most people doing this draft.
Really I had a couple other potential musicians named Chris, but I'll save them till after the draft.
Well, you need another one, so you need 2.
Oh, okay.
You need 2 musicians.
Oh, maybe
2.
Oh, so wait. So I misunderstood the rules then. So I go again?
No. You'll need another musician later.
Oh, yes, I will. Okay, cool. All right.
Okay, so I'm gonna be a little bit. You said it, but maybe I was talking over you. But just for the listeners, if you don't know who Christopher Wallace is, that's Notorious B.I.G., aka Biggie Smalls. And so I was texting with you a little bit about what I thought the rules should be. So I wanted to take here with my first pick. Well, I thought maybe Christopher Wallace would fall to me, but I didn't expect it. So my backup, Nikola Jokic.
For an athlete.
Yeah, for an athlete, of course. But is Nikola, will you tolerate it? And there's no pressure. If you want to say that's not close enough to Nick. And I originally was like, we're not doing Nicolas, we're not doing Nikolai's. And then at some point, I realized that in Greece, well, so Nick is obviously short for Nicholas. And in Greece and maybe other places, Nicholas is pronounced Nikolaos. And so then I started to think like, well, in Russia and maybe other like areas in the region, they have like the version of Nicholas is Nikolai, or in Serbia, for example, maybe it's Nikola, but which is basically just their version of Nicholas. So I don't know at what point it becomes a pronunciation or a spelling distinction, but I'll let you decide. If you put, I'm prepared for you to say that Nikola Jokic is not allowed, and I'll have a backup.
Not to be petty, but it feels like a stretch.
Rita, okay. Well, and I also offered you like Christine's. Well, offered us like, do we want to include Christine's and Christina's and chrysanthemums? No, I don't think there's anyone named that.
No, but it's a pretty name though, and I think I said no to all that. So
Okay.
I'm gonna.
So no Christines, no Nicolas, no Nikolais, just Chris, Christopher, Nick, and Nicholas.
I think Nicholas. If there's a
Nikki,
Nikki out there,
let's
yeah. I
go.
mean, if that's their birth name, I think that would work too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chrissy.
No.
No Chrissy, but how can you do Nikki without Chrissy? But I think there's only one Chrissy I can
Oh
think
no!
of,
Oh,
and
I see what
neither
you're
of us
saying.
would
Yeah,
pick her. I don't
you could
think.
do Chrissy. Who? Chrissy Teigen?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. You could do her.
I'm not gonna, but you can. Okay, so no Nick. So my first two got crossed off here. So my backup to my backup is Christopher Bridges, aka Ludacris. Let's go! And
That was a good one. That's a good
I
one.
don't know if he was on your Chris list, but
He wasn't actually.
Ludacris. Thanks for writing this down. I can write my own down if you want. Although my keyboard is much louder than yours. So
Oh, is it?
yeah,
Can do you hear this typing?
I guess like no, I can't hear yours very well, but you guys would hear mine.
Yeah, you're right.
So I could have taken him as a movie person, but I'm going to take him in music, especially now that one of my music people got removed from
Okay.
me. So
All
who
right.
is your number two
Boom.
pick?
My number two pick. This is gonna be. Let's see. I'm gonna just get the musicians out of the way. My number two musician, Chris Martin of Coldplay fame,
Oh,
the lead singer of
I'm glad you
Coldplay.
explained it.
You might also know him as, I believe he's Nicole Kidman's wife,
Oh,
or ex-wife.
husband.
No, ex-wife.
Wait, is
Is
it a
she married to
woman?
Keith Urban?
Is it a
Chris
woman?
Martin.
He's a
No,
man.
he's a man. Yeah, you know.
Okay, so he's not a wife.
Viva
He's a
la vida,
husband.
clocks. Yeah, he is a man. What did I say? Did I say wife?
He
Did I
said
say?
wife, but
Oh shit,
I
my
was
bad.
pretty sure
Uh,
Coldplay's just guys. So, but I don't actually know, so I had to double check.
Fair enough. But yeah, all right. So my musicians are done.
Nice. Yeah, musicians are a little sparse. I'm gonna have to pivot after that Biggie Smalls stunt you pulled. My number two is gonna be in Greek person. I'm taking
Okay.
Saint Nicholas, also sometimes referred to as jolly old Saint Nick. Saint Nicholas. Let me read something I found earlier. I'm not the expert on the Santa Claus legend or whatever you want to call it, but he basically had rich parents and he had a big inheritance. Let's see. His wealthy parents, who raised him to be a devout Christian, died in an epidemic while Nicholas was still young. Obeying Jesus' words to sell what you own and give the money to the poor, Nicholas used his whole inheritance to assist the needy, the sick, and the suffering. He dedicated his life and blah blah blah. Yeah. So, like, I mean, obviously, we all love getting presents at Christmas, but also sounds like a good dude. Although I don't, I'm not the expert, but let's go, jolly old Saint Nick, and that is in Greek person.
I did not have Santa Claus on my bingo card, but I'm very happy for you.
Let's go, baby.
But and he was a real person. All right. Okay. That was good. That was a good one. All right. So I am going to let's see. You know what? I'm going to use my Italian person,
Okay.
Christopher Columbus.
Oh,
Boom.
I think I had him in oof. Actually, I don't think he
He,
made my oof list, but
he was a he was a backup for my oof.
you had him in oof, but also an Italian person. Well, I guess.
Yeah, I did. So you know what's really funny about that is I was going through a bunch of old magazines that I had, and I used to subscribe to this one called Italian America. And let me see if I can find it. But yeah, no. So Christopher Columbus. This article is from fall of 2020. The attack
Wow.
on Columbus Why the criticism of Columbus?
Oh.
Why the criticisms are unfair.
Oh, let's go.
Um,
Italians,
yeah,
Americans.
so I remember because there was kind of like, in 2020, while we were sort of rethinking everything we knew about everything, Columbus was getting a lot of heat for his colonization of the indigenous people of this country. And some Italians took issue with that because he
Hmm.
means a lot to their culture and heritage. So to each their own. But yeah, Christopher Columbus, my Italian pick.
I didn't even know he was Italian. I think I thought he was like Spanish because I thought he was sent from. Oh, but I don't want to show
I
my
think
ignorance.
a Spanish queen, or I believe a Spanish queen might have been involved in the process of sending him
Mm.
to what they thought were the Indies. But yeah, no, he is
Wow.
Italian through and through.
So you just took the original Drake then? Original colonizer?
Where would Drake be without Columbus? Honestly, if we're being real.
Okay, so I gotta go. I feel like I could just shift my Knicks down in priority now that I know you probably aren't gonna take them or think of them. But I'll just, I don't want to be too much of a try hard here when you only have half of the inventory as I do. So I'm gonna take
No, go for it.
someone I originally had really high priority. Oh, and especially because I couldn't get Nikola Jokic, an athlete, I'm gonna take someone who you might not even know, Nick Kyrgios, an athlete.
Does he play tennis?
Yes. Have you heard of him?
Yeah, and vaguely.
you
How do you spell that name? Last name?
Kyrgios,
Ah,
Kyrgios. And I think I could have
Australian
taken
tennis
him in
premier.
Greek,
Yeah,
although he's Australian, but his last name is clearly Greek. His dad's clearly Greek. And
clearly.
Nick is like the most popular Greek name, I would say, one of the most, along with like Yanis and Spiros. But I have a joke that I don't think anyone's ever laughed at, and I've probably told it at least 3 times. But like here in America, we have Starbucks on every corner. In Greece,
Hmm.
you have an Agios Nikolaos, a Saint Nicholas church, like everywhere. All of the churches are called Agios Nikolaos. So those are their Starbucks over there.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting.
So yeah, that's an athlete though, because I already got my Greek guy.
Got it. Okay. Fair enough. All right. So let's see. Okay, well then, since you picked an athlete, I'm going to pick an athlete. My first pick for athlete is Chris Bosh.
Ooh,
Chris Bosh, former Toronto Raptor and Miami Heat player, part of the Miami Heat Big Three. You know him. You may or may not love him, but yeah, Chris Bosh.
how could you not love him? He's a really funny dude. I think he's kind of quiet back in his like. Well, I mean, he was the least glorified member of that big three. People would
Easily,
just
yeah.
say he looks like a dinosaur.
Yeah, I was
Um,
gonna say, I was gonna make a joke like, well, maybe you have a problem with, Tyrannosaurus
yeah,
Rexes, and
maybe.
then in which case
But
you wouldn't like him.
I mean, he's a great dude. I think he's like invested a lot. He really likes computers, I think, and programming specifically. And he's like put money towards schools that teach like kids to code. I'm pretty sure. I could
Oh,
be wrong on that, but when I found that out about him, I got really stoked because I'm a programmer, and
oh, okay. I didn't even know that.
it's not, it's especially for like underprivileged areas. I don't think it's a thing that you're likely to encounter in terms of like in school. You're not necessarily going to be taught to code. So I thought it was a
Right.
cool initiative.
That's awesome.
Um, okay, so I gotta go with my fourth pick now. Um, I'm gonna take. I'm not this guy's like biggest fan. I'm not a hater, but I'm not like a fanboy. But Christopher Nolan in movie,
Mm,
he
okay.
at just for Dark Knight and Inception, not which I mean, Dark Knight is a great movie. Inception, I'm like maybe less stoked on than your average person. But I have really good memories of seeing both of those movies back in our high school era. And then I guess more recently he did Oppenheimer, which is in Best Picture, and then
Hmm.
Tenet, which I still really want to see, but it's quite a thing to embark on. I think it's like 3 hours or something crazy. It was one of
Oh
those
God.
movies that went straight to streaming during the pandemic, but then did like a theatrical release, I think, within the last few months to make up for the fact that it never had a real one. But yeah,
Mm.
Chris Nolan, let's go.
Chris Nolan. Okay, good pick. Good pick. All right. So let's see. So four. Okay. So with this next pick, we are now halfway through the draft. And for my fifth pick, I feel like I have a lot of names that I don't know how many of these names you also have on your list, but I feel like this next one you probably do. And so I'm gonna take it now before it's too
Good
late.
call.
In the oof category, I am drafting Chris Brown.
Oh, yep. That was my top priority. Oof. Good call.
Big oof. Yeah, enough said.
Yeah, we don't
Mm.
need to expand on
Dick.
that. He is a physical abuser and of Rihanna, and for, I think he's had other cases, situations like that, but also kind of had a weird like he has somehow been able to rehabilitate. Like some people still like him, I guess is what I'm trying to say, which is a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean he had a comeback. Like he had a certifiable comeback. And I mean we listened to Look at Me Now a lot in high school, Maybe that was
true,
more so for the Busta Rhymes verse than anything else, but
true.
like the industry as a whole welcomed him back. I mean, he even we could very easily go on a tangent here. He even did a song with Rihanna, like that was on her
Oh,
album. Like
jeez.
he was featured on one of her albums, I believe in 2013. So he was welcome back. He maybe never was able to achieve the same level of fame that he did before. Um, it certainly affected his trajectory, but yeah, he's been able to carve out a pretty successful career in spite of everything. But he sucks.
Yeah, I wonder if I mean Drake is obviously dealing with a more significant cancel culture than Chris Brown was, but I think I could see. I don't think. Uh, I don't know. We'll see. I could
We'll see.
see
We'll see what happens.
Drake kind of having a similar trajectory where like it is a total stain on his career if especially if this stuff is substantiated. But um, yeah, still think there's a decent chance he'll recover career wise. Okay, so then I'm gonna take uh, in movie my second and final movie pick. I'm gonna take Christopher Walken
Good
just
pick.
because was he on your list?
He was, yes, but
Okay.
thankfully for me the movie section seemed to be the easiest one to
Oh,
find
okay.
names in. So
Um,
okay, good pick.
yeah, I
So
love Christopher Walken. I feel like he's in everything. Really, really crazy scene in Pulp Fiction. I feel like he's not always playing the same character, but he's always playing like almost just playing himself in some ways. Like either like some pissed off mobster or like a pissed off dad or like a he was in Dune recently as like a king who's kind of
oh, was he
it's kind of
really?
a minor
Damn.
part, but also kind of like a yeah. But he's very much yeah. He's just all over the place in movies and really good movies at that.
Yeah, he definitely has one of the most, I feel like, unique voices and personalities in Hollywood right now. So
He's still going pretty
good pick.
strong.
He still got it. Let's see. All right, for my pick number six, I'm going to take my second oof.
Okay.
Also a Chris. I might get his last name wrong. Chris Delia,
Oh yeah.
the comedian who was recently found to be, or maybe not recently, but basically accused of sexting and potentially abusing underage girls via Snapchat. Um,
He's
his
an
career has not really his career really has not been able to recover, whereas Chris Brown has been doing pretty okay. Chris D'Elia has not really been visible at all since those allegations first came out. And there's actually a hilarious slash disturbing video of, I guess he was doing a podcast with somebody, and like once he realizes that Snapchats can be saved and that like don't go away forever necessarily, like the look of realization on his face,
Oh shit.
once he realizes
Sorry.
that and that he actually maybe, maybe found out one day after all, is pretty alarming. So,
Another part of
but
that is he was like right before that became public. What he was doing was he played a character in a show called You, where he was basically playing someone like that. Um,
yeah,
and so that, I mean, that is obviously was like hard
yeah,
to watch.
that's pretty concerning example of life imitating art there.
Isn't it maybe one of his claim to fame? Wasn't he the guy who did a like Eminem impression? That is that Eminem? Is that Chris D'Elia?
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he did do an
And
Eminem
then
impression.
Eminem
Yeah,
sampled it in
yeah,
Kamikaze, I think, or no, in
and like or a song with
yeah,
Logic.
there we go.
He made reference to it. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. But yeah, Cristelia.
Okay, so you're done with your oofs.
That was my
You still have
oofs.
only taken Chris's. You haven't thought of any Nicks along the way. Um, I need a backup oof because you took Chris Brown. Um, I think everyone left on my list. Oh, I need a second athlete. So I could have gone two ways with this. Oh, well, I don't want to say too much if you only have one athlete. Okay. Maybe I should leave my Chris athlete up for you. Just so it.
No, no, no! Don't do that. Don't play that game. Go with your heart.
Um, I also need another musician, but you have two musicians. Okay. Oh, yeah, I'll just take an oof, even though it's not in danger of being taken. But I'm gonna take Nick Cannon as an oof,
Ooh, that's a good
and I
one.
think he's an oof. I mean, I never really loved him. I always thought he was like kind of corny and cringy. But I think the biggest oof for him is doesn't he have like 83 children or something?
At a minimum, yeah.
Okay.
It might actually be up to 85 by the time we're done recording this
Wow.
podcast.
Two.
That's
Two
a good one.
in one pod. That's crazy for
Yeah,
him. And then yeah, he's Nick
man
Cannon.
is unhinged. Okay, that's a good oof. Good oof, good Nick selection. Let's see. Okay, I am going. Let's see. So your movie picks are off the board. I am going to. I don't. Again, I don't think. Thankfully, Chris is a pretty popular name, so I didn't really run into too many issues. I feel like we're gonna both be okay going forward. But for my second athlete, I'm going to pick Chris Bassett. He
Oh,
is a baseball player for the Toronto Blue Jays, but he played for the Oakland A's for at least like 6 years, maybe more. So Chris Bassett is my second athlete. I
okay.
know we've picked. Oh wait, no, you still have an athlete left, so I won't say it. I won't say it just yet.
Okay. Um. Oh, so I have one oof. Got my movies. Got my Greek. I need my Italian. I need another athlete. I need another musician. Um. I'm surprised you took the Chris Martin Coldplay guy over Chris Frank Ocean, but I like if I took Chris Frank Ocean, it would be like I like him, but I'm not like super in the know, and like maybe I've only listened to a handful of songs, and I just like other people whose opinions I respect know really like him. So, but like it'd be a little disingenuous for me to take Frank Ocean, I think. So, um, and the same could be said about this person I'm going to take instead. But I'm going to
Okay.
do it for my wife because every time his name comes up, she gets stoked. And so I would call him Nicky Jam, but my wife Judith would call him Nicky Yam. and he's like a
Ah, okay.
reggaetonero like trap guy.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
And
know Nicky Jam.
Nicky
Okay, cool.
Jam, let's
Good pick.
go. I know,
Good pick.
I know. Frank Ocean's a little more popular than Nicky Jam, but I had to do it for my wife
That's fine. I had to do it. I respect that. I respect that a lot. Honestly, Frank Ocean did not even come to mind because you're right.
because
His
his
birth
name's
name is
Frank.
Christopher, but it's Frank. Yeah. I also had as a potential backup Chris Lake, the DJ,
Oh,
which is very obscure, but he was on one of Dead Mouse's albums and has like
ooh,
some of his own stuff. So
nice.
that was an option too. But all right, musicians done. Um, I think I am going to pick now because I have my movie picks and my Greek person. I'm gonna just get a movie person out of the way. Christopher Maloney of Law and Order SVU fame.
Oh, good one. Yeah, he's a staple in Law and Order universe, and
Absolutely.
the character's been around since we were just wee lads watching Heroes.
I feel like he's been my hero.
Oh, nice.
Just
Yeah.
cracking down on rapists
Yep.
across
Special
the
Victims
TV.
Unit.
So
Yeah.
yep.
Incredible
So Maloney.
chemistry with is who's this coast who's the
Oh, Olivia Merska
yeah,
Hartigan.
there we go.
Olivia Liv Benson. The will they won't they is just so palpable on
True.
that show.
And it's
It really
like
is.
that's got to be one of the longest like lived dynamic duos in TV history.
I think so. Yeah, I think she has literally set a record for like most TV episodes
Mm.
of anybody ever. So yeah, and he took a break there for a while, but he's back now. Oh, all
Oh,
right.
so
Pick number 8, sir.
I need another oof. I need an Italian, and I need an athlete. Um. Okay. So, and you took your two athletes. I thought you were going to go with Chris Bosh and Chris Paul. Chris Paul seems like a great dude on the court. Some people are annoyed by him, in the way he plays. But seems like a family guy. He's lovable from his commercials, of course. I think people think of him as a great teammate. He mentored, recently eliminated Shai Gilgeous-Alexander when they were together on the Thunder. So I feel like, and he's also, I guess, one of the best point guards of all time, maybe like top 5. I don't think he's in the top 3, but top 5 he's probably in. And so the person I'm going to take instead of Chris Paul is almost laughable. But Nick Swaggy P. Young is just a hilarious
Oh
dude.
my.
Former Laker. And I don't know
Oh
if you follow him
man.
on Instagram, but he's got like a bit that he does. And honestly, he's probably pretty altered when he records these videos. And usually they're live streams, but I watch them like after the fact. I don't know if he's drunk or what. But they're ridiculous. But he's just giving basketball analysis in a hilarious way about role players who he calls. Well, I can't say what he calls them, but he calls them like corner store people because they're not the main event, but they're these like guys you find at the corner store that are they're ready to go, ready to do what they got to do. So he's advocating for role players. So I encourage you and our listeners to check out Nick Young's Instagram content.
That's hilarious. I honestly forgot that man existed. Which is an indictment of me because he gave us so much good content over the years.
The other Nick Young thing you got to check out is Gilbert Arenas. Right after, so Nick Young dated Iggy Azalea right after they broke up. Gilbert Arenas, who was a very ridiculous player who Nick Young played with, came over to his house. And so you just gotta, I don't want to ruin the video for you, but you gotta look up the video of Gilbert Arenas going to Nick Young's house.
Okay, I will
right
do that.
after the Iggy Azalea breakup.
Gilbert Arenas. Oh boy.
I'll try and put links to some of these things we referenced in whatever the podcast description is.
Okay, for sure, for sure. All right, we're getting down to the wire.
Yep.
Last two picks now. So for me, I'm going to pick my second movie person because I only have a Greek person left after that, and you've already picked yours. So there are plenty of Chris actors. There are three left that I could pick any one of three. I'm picking the one that has a movie coming out soon called Furiosa that I'm very excited to see, and that would be Chris Hemsworth
Ooh.
for my second actor. I also had Chris Evans and Chris Pratt,
Yep.
both as contenders, and all three have been in the Marvel movies
Mm-hmm.
in
True.
one role or another. But I'm going with
We got
Hemsworth,
Thor, Captain America, and then what's the Guardians of the Galaxy?
Star
Star
Lord.
Lord. Mm. Yeah, I think you picked the right one. Chris Evans is like, I don't know anything about him except for he plays Captain America, and then
Yeah, and he no longer does Captain America, so I don't really know what he's up to now.
okay, Chris Hemsworth. All right. So I got one oof left, and I got my Italian person. I'm saving my Italian person for last. You're saving the Greek person for last. So then I'll take my oof, who, I'm gonna take Nicki Minaj as my oof.
Nicki Minaj, that is a good oof choice.
Yeah, and I don't know if I could totally do justice to explaining why she's a noof. I kind of just know she's a noof. I think she had some sexual assault stuff, maybe, but maybe I shouldn't be saying that unless I can back it up.
Well, she's married to a convicted sex offender.
Yeah. Okay.
That's part of it. I mean, in terms of allegations, I mean, she's definitely a bully towards other, female rap artists. And we can speculate as to why that is, but she's, not very kind, and she has a very devoted group of fans known as the Barbs or
Oh.
Barbies, and she has not hesitated to, for lack of a better term, weaponize her
Oh,
fans
jeez.
against certain people who are more than willing to go into battle. So, yeah, kind of a bit of a problematic person as of late, and a good oof pick.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you were able to describe her oofness.
She ain't a Nicki fan, then the bitch that's dumb.
Right,
You ain't my son, you my motherfucking
that just leaves
stepson.
me with my Greek pick.
I'm honestly impressed
And
you
this-
found a Greek person named Christopheros.
So it was really hard because I didn't realize this, but Christopher is the English version of the Greek name Christophoros, which essentially means of Christophoros.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, thank you. No, but actually, I'm there. Thank you for correcting me on that because I'm going to butcher this otherwise. So Christophoros.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? Christophoros. So I found a basketball player who plays for what is essentially the G League of Greek basketball, and that is
It's not even a Greek basketball player, which itself is like a G League, like a secondary league. It's the G League for another country. Okay, go. What's his last name?
Chris. I get okay. His name is Christophoros Stefanidis.
Oh, that's my cousin. No, it's not.
Yeah?
No, it's not.
Aww.
That's cool though.
He is. So I realize now. Well, I went into this pick looking for somebody who is currently alive. I didn't want to just pick a historical figure, because that felt like cheating. But I quickly broke that rule when I picked Christopher Columbus for my Italian person.
Or I don't know,
so.
your first pick maybe. Or I mean, maybe Biggie Smalls is still kicking.
Yeah, maybe he's kicking in Cuba somewhere. But I'm going with so Cristoforo Stefanidis. He was born in 1980, so he's a Greek professional basketball player. He's in the Greek Second Division League. It's the second tier level of pro competition among clubs in Greece.
That's the same league I play in, dude.
Yeah,
No.
the D2. You're a D2 player. I knew
I
it.
wish.
All this time, I
I
knew it.
wish.
But yeah, so we accept. So Cristoforo, we're cool with that
Oh
for
yes, definitely,
Greek pet? All right,
definitely.
sick.
I mean, if I said no, what would you do? Would you have a backup?
I did. There was one backup.
Who's the backup?
Um, Actually, no. Because but if you were to reject him, the other person I had is also named is Christophorus. His last name is Zographos, and he's a retired Greek referee.
Mm. Well, you really did hard mode because like finding a Greek person named Nikos is easy. There's Christophoros is not a super common name as far as what I know, which isn't much, so I could be wrong. I mean, it's probably like common, but it's not in like the most common names
Right.
like the ones I referenced before. I have two options for Italian, and I'm gonna go with Christopher Moltisanti, who's a fictional character from The Sopranos. He plays Tony Soprano's nephew. Have you watched The Sopranos?
Just bits and pieces.
I'm just finished season 1 within the last few months and haven't continued on, but I'm loving it. I'm loving especially the Italian history, well, more like American Italian cultural history lesson I'm getting from the show. I bet your parents probably like Sopranos, right? Or
Yes, they did.
Okay.
They watched.
Nice.
They did watch all of it.
You got to do it someday. I think it's a must.
I know. Someday I got to go back and watch.
But the other person I would have picked, I couldn't find concrete evidence that they're Italian, but their last name is Coletti, ending in an I, so it's probably safe to assume. But Nick Coletti is like an old Vine star who I encourage you to go watch his
Nick Coletti, that rings a bell.
He has some hilarious videos. Very weird humor, but right up my alley. But I'll link a few Nick Coletti content.
Okay.
So you want to? Thank you so much for writing down our picks, but you want to read them back to the listener?
So real quick, do you want to go with Nick Coletti
No.
or do you want to go with the fictional character?
I'm doing Chris Moltisanti. Well, unless you want a veto, because I'm taking him an Italian person, but he's fictional character.
Yeah, I'll allow it. Okay. Yeah. So so let me see. So we have finally in their draft. I have Christopher Wallace, aka Biggie Smalls, Chris Martin of Coldplay, Christopher Maloney, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Bosch, Chris Bassett, Chris Brown, Chris Delia, Cristoforo Stefanidis, Christopher Columbus, and that's it. That's my draft. Whereas you have Christopher Bridges, aka Ludacris, Nicky Jam, Christopher Nolan, Christopher Walken, Nick Kyrgios, Nick Kyrgios, Nick Young, Nick Cannon, Nicki Minaj, Christopher Moltisanti, and Saint Nicholas.
Woo!
I think we did pretty good. That's a good job. I think the Chris Brown and Chris Wallace were like the only like picks that caused controversy.
Nikola Jokic.
And Nikola Jokic. Yeah, you're right. That was. I mean, come on, Nikola. You didn't need him. Look, you came up with a perfect list without him.
I don't know how you did it by only sticking to Chris's.
Wikipedia was a big
I think if I was gonna do a thing where we count the number of Chris's and Nick's and declare the winner based on that. But clearly Chris is the winner from those. But if any of you made it this far in the pod and you want to let us know who you think won the draft, go easy on Chris because he went hard mode.
Yeah, guys.
But
please.
I think Biggie Smalls gives him a nice little head start there. And I think honestly, we did well except for the fact that we went way over time what we thought it was going to be. But other than that, I
Yeah.
think good start.
We were shooting for the like the hour 15, hour 20 range. We're pushing 2.5 hours. So going forward, we will find ways to trim content. But I think we just like the conversation was just flowing. We just had a good time just
Yes.
talking to each other, just hanging out.
Yes.
It's been fun, man. This was fun. I
Yeah,
enjoyed
thanks
this.
a lot, Chris, for leading the charge and giving that great summary of the Drake Kendrick stuff. And we saved some content that we didn't get to. We could talk about next time, maybe some movie talks. We both saw Planet of the Apes movie recently, so I want to talk about that. And maybe there'll be another thing that happens in the Drake Kendrick beef we can update on.
Maybe, yeah, that's a good tease.
Yeah.
Good hook for our listeners, whoever you are.
Thanks a lot for listening, though, and we'll try and maybe. I don't think every week is in the cards, but maybe every other week is doable.
Maybe every other week, yeah. We'll play it by ear ish, I guess. We'll see how if the content is flowing, then we'll see what we can do with that. But yeah, every other week to start.
Sounds good.
Seems like a good benchmark. Yep. All right, man. This has been Una Faccia, Una Razza. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Chris. That name is Nick over there.
Oh.
We'll see you. Oh.
I thought I turned that off. I guess not.
Apparently not. Well, we'll see you next time.
Adios. Thanks, guys.
Take care.